everybody, I'm B-Rad, your grateful and humble host of the Question Reality channel. Actually, this is my first video of Question Reality, so thank you very much for tuning in and checking it out. You probably saw the title of the video is How to Not Blow Up at People. I was actually going to call it How to Not Blow Up at People in Times of Great Transition, but that was a little too long, but it's basically what's going on. I was actually going to wait till like the third or fourth episode to do this, but I changed my mind because I think it's this important. I think it's extremely important. Mainly it's about obviously communicating and communicating effectively and, trying to get around all the non-communicating that's going on these days, probably because of all the political crap going on over the years and just everyone being divided, editing butchery from mainstream media. A lot of times, it's probably unfortunately subconsciously conditioned to act that way over the past few years from all that stuff on social media, especially and mainstream news stuff. But like for example, let's say this line says what you're trying to say to an individual or a group of people. So basically, here's where you start talking, there's where you finish. A lot of times nowadays, probably because of all that stuff I just mentioned with the media, the editing butchery of mainstream media and all that kind of stuff, usually you start talking and the people or person you're talking to, in their mind, they're already at the end of your sentence when you're still here somewhere. In their mind, they're thinking, oh God, I see where this is headed, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like a lack of communication when if people would just listen the way we used to, it'd probably actually save time and go a little smoother. Or it's verbal, and a lot of times you start talking, this is like 20 words estimated you want to say, and then all of a sudden someone cuts you off right there, and it's more like verbal. Oh, I guess that means you're a blah, 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 and you believe in this, blah, blah, blah. That means you're in this group because you said, and all this kind of stuff. Way too much lumping people in either just two sides or whatever, this group and that group. It's just... Anyway, the whole point of this channel is to unite people. There's way too much divide and conquer stuff going on, just division everywhere. So that's kind of the whole point of doing this. So once again, this episode was going to be 3 or 4 episodes in, but I think it's that important to do it as the first episode. So the trick to not blowing up at people comes from 3 main things I chose. It could be more, but I think they're huge and definitely contribute to what I'm talking about. One is the law of one is nonviolent communication, and one is the self-realization fellowship, which we'll dive a little bit deeper in this video. We'll definitely gonna be doing some series on law of one for sure, and probably all of them really. But here's the trick. So basically what you want to do, all 3 of these things kind of utilize this main principle I'm going to get to right now. This is the trick to not blowing up at people. The idea is to see the creator in everyone. That's what all these 3 things teach. See the creator in everyone and everything. And so the trick is before, you got to practice it a few times to get it down, but it works. When you catch yourself about to blow up at somebody, comes a truck. Lots of trucks in this neighborhood. This used to be quiet actually out here. Still quite lovely though. Alright, so let's start back. Here is the trick to not blowing up at people that I'm getting at. So if you're in a conversation with someone and you catch yourself about to blow up and just scream and yell or whatever and just kind of act before you think, so to speak, the trick is to see the creator in their eyes, and before you yell or burst or blow up at them, you think in your mind, oh my God, I'm about to yell at the creator. And it stops you in your tracks, and it kind of pulls you back. Some people will probably say, hey, I should probably leave before I say something I regret or whatever. Let's separate, let's go take a walk, come back to this later. However you want to do it, but the more you do this practice, the more you get good at it, and the more you get into a state of compassion, you get into a state to where you actually listen to all the words that someone's talking about, like the way people used to communicate a long time ago. And it just puts you more in the state of now, in the present moment, because you are listening to what the other person is saying. But because you also are programming the subconscious mind to do exactly what you're practicing, to see the creator in everything, and therefore before you blow up, you think once again, oh my God, I'm about to blow up at the creator, and you stop. The more you practice that, it just becomes muscle memory, just like anything else that you practice through repetition. So I think it's extremely important to try that. If you feel that scenario we were talking of earlier, just all this yelling and bickering and back and forth and non-listening and assumption that just because you said this, that means you believe in all this other stuff too, and all this division crap. We got to stop that. It's getting way out of hand, in case you haven't noticed. So that's kind of my video here to suggest a way to get out of that way of communicating. So let's. I'm not trying to make this too long. The goal here on this channel is to make videos about 15 to 30 minutes long tops, because they're more easily digestible and you're more likely to actually view the whole thing. But a little bit of background. So the Law of One of my favorite spiritual texts ever, and it's really cool to see it getting a lot more popular. I read it for the first time in 2007, and I'm actually rereading them again now. But it was started back in more trucks. It was founded and started by a group of people called L&L Research, meaning Love and Light Research. It was Don Elkins, Carla Ruckert, and Jim McCarty. They worked together from like 1967, I want to say, all the way up into the 80s when they started doing the Law of One material. But we'll get much more into them. Like I said, there's going to be an entire series in the Law of One because it is so big. But it's basically an explanation of the soul's journey from lifetime to lifetime, and the main goal of the soul's journey to get back home where we came from. I was condensing it extremely narrow, but we'll expand soon, I promise. Nonviolent communication is huge. It's a book that's sold over like 35 million copies, I think, or no, it's 35 languages, and definitely millions of copies. It was started by a guy named Dr. Marshall B. Rosenberg, who unfortunately passed away in 2015. But basically built on 4 things and heavily centered around what we were just talking about. But and to if you look at his book or his website, it's simply nonviolentcommunication.com. It's kind of based on 4 pillars or 4 main things. 1, consciousness. 2, language. 3, communication. 4, means of influence. So 1, consciousness. He kind of outlines the principles that support living a life of compassion, collaboration, courage, and being authentic, or authenticity. Speaking your truth, but doing it in a way to where you actually reach people. You don't have to be. A lot of this is about the tone of your voice. If you're talking to people and you start talking like this and you usually lose your audience like that. So maybe be mindful of that when you're communicating, and especially if it's important to you and you want to get the point across. The calmer you are, the more contagious that calmness spreads. It's pretty awesome when you actually watch it happen in front of your eyes. 2, language. So basically to him it meant understanding how the words you use and your delivery is huge, can either contribute to connection or to distance. So that's pretty big. Once again, what I was just saying about your tone of voice, your amplitude, your volume, the vibe you're putting out. If what you're talking about it angers you, maybe don't get angry when you're talking about it. Try to have the observer effect, as if you're not attached to it. Truck number 15. Woo! This is a big truck. Okay. 3 was communication. Knowing how to ask for what you want. That's huge. How to hear others. Really hear them. Listen to them. Even if you don't agree. That's humongous in this day and age. A lot of people, we need to relearn that one big time. It's okay if you don't agree on everything with your peers, with your friends, with people that are just acquaintances, whatever. I mean, do people want a world where everyone's exactly the same? That's not what this world has ever been. In fact, it's beautiful that everyone is individualized and has their own. We should celebrate that. That should be something we should dig about each other, that everyone's got their own personal flavor and so forth. 4, means of influence, once again. So this kind of, to Dr. Rosenberg, meant sharing power with others rather than power over others. So number 4, once again, means of influence to him was sharing power with others rather than power over others. This really corresponds to the Law of One's teaching. Basically, instead of you know, good, bad, light, dark, good, evil. So if they break it down into two classifications in this type of living experiment, especially like living experiment, I mean like what we're doing here on planet Earth. They put all those things into two groups: service to others or service to self. So it is kind of synonymous with number 4 of nonviolent communication, meaning power with others or power over others. So power with others would be more like service to others. Power over others would be more like service to self. Service to others is, I think of it as the pathway of unity, the pathway of Christ consciousness. Service to self is the pathway of separation. You know, we've explored the pathway of separation enough. I mean, we kind of had to at first in this type of living arrangement when everything is XYZ axis, 3-dimensional, everything. You can't get out of having polarity there. So that's what we're all learning very intensely right now. Self-Realization Fellowship was founded by Yogananda himself in, I believe, 1920. There's still foundations in actual places all over this country and many others as well. But definitely had the same vibe that, you know, see the, or principal core value, you could say. See the creator in everyone, as in basically we are the one creator seeing itself from outside of itself. We're in a very fractalized, individualized way of relearning the basics, basically the way I look at it. The basics being unconditional love, forgiveness, gratitude, respect. Those are the main 4 I think of all the time, but of course there's many others. Anyway, that is it for the first episode of Question Reality. I thank you so much for being here and checking it out. There's going to be a lot more. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff. Like I said, series on the Law of One, nonviolent communication, definitely things that revolve around Self-Realization Fellowship. I'm kind of an archaeology nerd, so there's going to be a lot of stuff on cool archaeological sites that just do not add up to what we're taught in public school systems, like tangible places that are being excavated right now or have been or, you know, will be in the near future, hopefully, stuff like that. A lot of topics like binary star systems, and that's going to be a really good series. Other ones, how the Hindu Yuga cycles correlate exactly to a lot of ice core sample data that's been done in Antarctica and Greenland. It's something I've been working on for a couple years now, so I'm really stoked to finally have this in action. So thanks again. If you want to keep on keeping in touch and seeing these, like everyone else says, I know, hit the subscribe button down below, and then when the little thing pops up, make sure you hit the bell that says all, and that way you'll get notifications every time there is a new video. So thank you once again, and I hope you all have a beautiful rest of the day. Cheers.